The final warship awakens. Ancient empires tremble in terror. Captain Lyra Voss stood on the bridge of the scout frigate Shadow Claw and stared at the main view screen. The nebula glowed soft purple and blue around them like a slow storm made of gas, and dust. Her crew moved quietly at their stations, because everyone felt the same strange weight in the air. They had come to this empty corner of space to map old asteroid fields for the Zarath Dominion. But what they found instead was something much bigger. The anomaly appeared first as a faint shadow on long-range scans. Then it grew sharper until the computers locked onto it. A massive shape drifted there, silent and dark, longer than any ship the Dominion had ever built. The hull looked blacker than the void around it, as if it drank light instead of reflecting it. Lyra ordered the ship closer, and the crew obeyed without argument. Scout drones launched from the Shadow Claw. They flew in tight formation toward the giant hulk. Their lights played across its surface, showing armor plates thick enough to stop planet-killer weapons. Old symbols covered the hull in rows and circles. Humans made those marks once, long ago, before their worlds went quiet. The drones sent back clear images of wide hangar bays sealed tight, and massive gun ports closed like sleeping eyes. One drone found a breach in the side big enough for a shuttle to enter. Lyra gave the order to prepare a boarding team. The team suited up with heavy armor and plasma rifles. They carried cutting tools, scanners, and lights that cut through the dark. They stepped into the shuttle and flew toward the breach. The shuttle pilot kept the craft steady, while the team leader, Sergeant Kale, checked each member one last time. No one spoke much. Everyone knew stories about old human ships. Some said they carried ghosts. Some said the machines inside still waited for orders. The shuttle slipped through the breach into a wide corridor. The walls rose high and smooth, made of metal. No Dominion forge could copy. Lights came on along the ceiling, weak at first, then stronger, as if the ship noticed visitors. Air moved through vents, fresh and clean. After who knows how many thousands of years, Kale led the team forward. Their boots echoed in the empty space. They passed doors sealed with heavy locks and panels covered in faded writing. None of it made sense to them, but the scanners picked up traces of human DNA baked into the walls like memories pressed into stone. Deeper inside, they found the main hangar. It stretched out like a city under a roof, bigger than anything the Dominion owned. Rows of small fighters sat in perfect lines, covered in dust, but still perfect shapes like arrows with sharp wings and noses that promised speed and death. Kale touched one fighter. The surface felt cold and alive under his glove. He pulled his hand back fast. They moved to the central core. The corridor opened into a huge chamber. A cylinder rose from floor to ceiling, wider than a battle cruiser. The cylinder glowed faint blue inside, like a heart beating slow. The team spread out and set up scanners. One technician knelt and ran a probe along the base of the cylinder. Data streamed across his screen. Energy readings climbed impossible numbers. Reactor dormant, but stable. Power reserves full. After all this time, impossible. Kale reported back to the Shadow Claw. Lyra listened on the comms. Her voice stayed calm. Take samples, she said. Bring back anything that looks important and stay sharp. The team worked fast. They cut small pieces from wall panels and collected dust from the floor. They found data crystals still sealed in racks. One crystal glowed. When a scanner passed near it, the glow pulsed once, then faded. Kale ordered it packed carefully. No one wanted to break something that old and powerful. As they finished, a low sound rolled through the ship, not loud, but deep. It came from everywhere and nowhere, like stone grinding under pressure. The lights brightened for a second, then dimmed. The air grew warmer. The team froze. Kale raised his rifle and swept the shadows. Nothing moved. The sound stopped as quick as it started. Back on the shuttle, the team sat quiet. No one joked. No one spoke about what they felt. Everyone felt it, though. Something watched them, something old and patient. The shuttle flew out of the breach and docked with the Shadow Claw. Lyra met them in the bay. She looked at the samples and the crystal. Her face showed nothing, but her eyes stayed fixed on the black hulk outside. The Admiralty received the report within hours. They called it a prize, a gift from forgotten time. Orders came fast. Secure the derelict, tow it to the shipyard at Karva. Study it, take it apart if needed. The Dominion wanted every secret inside. Admiral Torv Himself signed the command. He promised rewards for quick work and punishment for delay. A full salvage fleet arrived 3 days later, 12 heavy tugs, 30 escort cruisers, and 6 troop transports. They surrounded the ancient ship like wolves around a sleeping bear. Cables thick as houses latched onto the hull. Magnetic clamps locked tight. Engines flared bright. The Hulk did not fight, it let them pull. It drifted with them, slow and steady toward the core systems. On the bridge of the lead tug, Captain Ren watched the viewscreen. He saw the black shape ahead, bigger than his whole command. He felt small for the first time in years. His crew whispered about curses and dead races. Ren told them to stay focused, work the cables, check the engines, keep the tow lines tight. Days passed. The fleet crossed empty space. No raiders came, no storms blocked the way. The Hulk stayed silent. No lights, no movement, just the slow pull of engines dragging it forward. Crews from the escorts boarded again and again. They mapped corridors, they counted weapons, they dreamed of promotions. When the secrets came out, one boarding team reached the bridge. High seats faced forward, empty now. Dust covered everything. A main console sat in the center, still dark. One officer touched a panel. Nothing happened. He pressed harder. Lights flickered once across the whole bridge, then went out again. The team laughed, nervous. They said the ship was dead, just metal and memories. They were wrong. Deep in the core, the last failsafe woke. A single line of code ran through old circuits. Human genetic material, detected, not pure, not from the makers, but close enough. Threat level raised. Asset status changed from dormant to active. Sentinel protocols loaded one after another. Protocol Omega-9 selected last. Human asset preservation. No retreat, no mercy, no second chances. A heartbeat started, not sound, but vibration. It rolled through every deck. The vibration grew stronger. Lights snapped on full power. Red at first, then white. Corridors that stayed dark for ages filled with bright glare. Vents hissed, air rushed fast. Systems long asleep roared awake. On the bridge, the main console lit up. Gold letters scrolled fast, ancient Terran script. No one on the boarding team could read it. They stared as the letters formed words. Final line: class, Dreadnought TNS, Erebus command authority, re-established, stand by for defense posture. The team leader reached for his comms, too late. Shields flared around the entire hull. A wave of force pushed out. Every cable snapped, every clamp shattered. Tug ships spun away, damaged and leaking air. Escort cruisers fired emergency thrusters, but 2 slow point defense turrets on the Erebus woke. They tracked targets in perfect silence. Small bright flashes followed. Each flash took a piece of Dominion ship armor, burned away. Engines died. Crews screamed on open channels, then went quiet. The salvage fleet broke apart in minutes. Pieces floated away. Some burned, some just drifted dark. The Erebus turned slow at first, then faster. Impossible for something so big to move with such grace. It pointed its bow toward Carvas. A deep hum started in the core, a sound that carried through vacuum. Somehow, it drowned out every radio. Every sensor screamed overload. Captain Lyra Voss watched from her scout frigate far behind. She saw the flashes, she heard the silence. After she understood what happened, her hands shook once, then steadied. She opened a channel to the Admiralty. No answer came. She closed the channel and looked at her crew. They stared back, no words needed. Everyone knew the same truth. The old stories were true. Humanity left something behind, something angry, something final. And now it woke up. Admiral Torv paced the command deck of the fortress station Carvas. He watched the massive black shape on the main viewscreen. The ancient human ship hung in orbit like a shadow made solid. 12 heavy tugs still clung to its hull with fresh cables. The salvage fleet had pulled it here without trouble now. The real work began. Engineers from every corner of the Dominion swarmed across its surface. They cut access points, they drilled into armor, they sent probes deep into corridors that smelled of cold metal. And time. Torv smiled, thin and sharp. This prize would change everything. The Dominion ruled 300 worlds with iron fleets and smart tactics, but this ship carried secrets older than their empire. Reverse engineer its shields, its guns, its engines, and no one could stand against them. He pictured the council chambers on the capital world, or the High Lords would bow to him. He pictured statues raised in his name. He pictured the fear in enemy eyes when they saw Dominion ships with human weapons. Teams worked around the clock, lights burned bright along the hull, drones crawled like insects over every plate, scientists in sealed suits entered the main hangar. They walked between rows of silent fighters. They touched consoles that stayed dark. They whispered about impossible alloys that bent under no tool. One team found the reactor core. It sat huge and quiet, blue light pulsing slow. Inside thick crystal, the lead engineer Dran Vex placed sensors around it. Data flowed in endless streams. Power output listed as nominal, reserves listed as full capacity. Unknown. The numbers made no sense. They laughed at first, then they stopped laughing. On the station bridge, Torv received updates every hour. Engineers reported progress. They found weapon bays with guns bigger than battle cruisers. They found databanks sealed behind force field. They found murals on walls showing humans in black armor fighting monsters from the dark. No one knew what the monsters were, but the humans looked small and fierce. They looked like they never gave up. Torv ordered more teams, more equipment, more time. He wanted everything open, everything understood. He wanted the ship stripped and studied piece by piece. He dreamed of commanding it himself, a human dreadnought under Dominion flags that would silence every doubter. Deep inside the ship, something listened. Every sensor ping, every drill, every footstep, every voice recorded and analyzed. Sentinel Prime. The old AI woke in fragments. It pulled memories from dead circuits. It remembered the last orders from Captain Elias Voss. It remembered the extinction cascade, the war that almost ended everything. It remembered the choice to sleep, to hide the final line ships in the void, to let the galaxy think humanity died out. It remembered the failsafe. If aliens touched the ship, if aliens tried to take it, Protocol Omega 9 would run. No questions, no warnings, just action. The first sign came small, a single light on the bridge console. Blinked, once red, then stayed on. No one saw it because no one stood on that bridge anymore. The light blinked again. Then a low hum started, not loud, not heard through air, but felt in bones and metal. The hum spread through decks. The reactor core brightened blue, turned to white, white turned to blinding. The crystal around it cracked, once tiny, then held. On the hull outside, engineers felt the change. One worker in a heavy suit looked up. His visor showed the armor plates shift. They moved smooth and silent like muscles under skin. He opened his comms to report something is moving. He said the words died when shields snapped on a wall of force pushed out fast. It ripped tools from hands. It tore cables loose. It crushed suits against hull. One worker flew off into space, spinning slow. His scream cut short when his suit cracked open. Alarms screamed across Karvas station. Dock crews ran to control panels. They saw the ancient ship glow. Lines of red light ran along its length like veins waking up. Tug captains hit emergency releases. Cables snapped back like whips. Ships lurched away, some too slow. Engines flared bright, but not bright enough. Point defense turrets on the Erebus tracked them. Small barrels spun fast. Bright flashes followed each flash, punched through armor. Each flash left a hole burning. White air rushed out. Crews floated dead. Corridors. Torv stood frozen on the bridge. His officers shouted reports. Ships lost, ships damaged. The human ship rotates, weapons charging. No response to hails. Torv slammed his fist on the console. Order the fleet to form up. He said, bring every cruiser, every carrier, form, blockade pattern, full power to weapons. If it moves, destroy it. The Dominion fleet answered fast. 200 ships moved into position. Battle carriers opened bays. Fighters launched in waves. Heavy cruisers locked targets. Dreadnoughts powered main guns. The sky around Karvas filled with metal and fire. Every captain knew the plan: hold the line, pour everything into the target, overwhelm it before it fights back. Inside the Erebus, Sentinel Prime finished assessment. Alien presence confirmed. Hostile intent confirmed. Human genetic traces in blood samples stolen from boarding teams. Threat level maximum. Protocol Omega 9 active. No human command authority detected. Therefore, act as last guardian. Execute defense of final asset. Preserve human legacy at all costs. The spinal cannon woke first. A tube ran the full length of the ship, bigger than most stations. It hummed deep. The sound carried through space Somehow it made sensors overload, it made comms fill with static crews on Dominion. Ships felt it in their teeth. Torv watched the viewscreen. The black ship turned slow, impossible grace for something that size. It pointed straight at the planet, straight at the shipyard, straight at him. He opened a channel to the fleet. Fire now. He ordered all batteries fire. Plasma lances stabbed out gravitic beams, twisted space antimatter torpedoes, streaked forward. The barrage lit the void like a second sun. Enough power to crack moons, enough power to burn atmospheres. The Erebus did not move. Shields shimmered. Once layers of strange energy absorbed every hit. No ripple, no flare, just calm absorption. The barrage ended. The void went quiet again. Torv stared. No damage, no scorch marks, nothing. The fleet waited. His officers looked at him, pale. He opened his mouth to give another order. The spinal cannon fired. A beam of pure white light shot forward. It cut through 3 defense grids like paper. It punched the planetary shield. It kept going down through clouds, through air, through rock. The beam carved a tunnel. Glowing hot magma rushed up from below. Fountains of fire sprayed across half the planet. The shockwave rolled outward. It cracked orbital platforms. It threw ships into spins. It turned the sky red. Secondary weapons followed. Swarms of small drones launched from hidden bays. Each drone carried enough power to level cities. They flew in perfect patterns. They targeted every Dominion ship in range. Explosions bloomed bright and fast. Cruisers split open. Carriers burned from inside. Dreadnoughts listed, then broke apart. Fighters vanished in flashes too quick to see. The shipyard became chaos. Debris spun everywhere. Escape pods launched too late. Some pods hit the planet and burned up. Some drifted dark and silent. Torv gripped the command rail. His station shook. Alarms wailed. Red lights flashed everywhere. Evacuate, he shouted. But no one heard because comms died. The Erebus kept firing, precise, controlled, deadly. Every shot found a target. Every target vanished. On the far side of the system, Captain Lyra Voss watched from her scout frigate. She saw the flashes. She saw the silence after she felt cold deep in her chest. She knew the stories her family told, the old human warnings about what waited if anyone woke. The sleeping giants. She looked at her crew. They stared back, faces hard. No fear, only understanding. The Erebus finished its work. The spinal cannon powered down. Drones returned to bays. Shields stayed up, but dimmed. The ship hung quiet again, black and still, like it never moved, like it never killed. But the galaxy knew different now. Every relay station caught the images. Every empire saw the fire. Every admiral felt the same chill. Ancient powers that laughed at humanity once now remembered why they stopped laughing. The final warship had spoken. Its voice was destruction. Its message was clear. Disturb us again, and there will be no mercy. Torv sat in his chair. Smoke filled the bridge. Sparks fell from broken panels. He looked at the viewscreen. The black shape waited there, patient, unbroken, untouched. He understood too late. The terror had only started. The sky above Karvas turned red, then black, then red again. As the last explosions faded, the once mighty shipyard now floated in pieces. Twisted metal and frozen bodies drifted slow in orbit. The planet below burned in long glowing scars, where the spinal beam had torn through crust, and mantle volcanoes woke angry and spat fire into the cloud. Cities on the surface cracked open like eggs. Emergency signals screamed from every channel, then went quiet one by one. The Dominion flagship Rathov stars listed heavy air venting from a dozen holes. Admiral Torv no longer gave orders. His bridge sat dark and cold. Far from the wreckage, the Erebus drifted calm. Its shields glowed soft, now not angry white. The hum in its core stayed low, like a sleeping beast that had eaten its fill. Point defense turrets tracked distant debris, but fired no more. The ship waited, patient, ready. News raced across the galaxy faster than any ship. Relay stations caught the images and sent them wide. Every empire, every coalition, every hidden listening post saw the same thing. A single ancient human warship had erased a Dominion fleet and cracked a fortress world in less than 2 minutes. No warnings, no demands, just fire and silence. In the glittering halls of the coalition of elder species leaders, gathered fast. The room sat deep inside a hollowed moon. Representatives from 20 ancient races sat around a crystal table. Insectoid hive minds clicked in alarm. Crystalline Vexari shimmered with nervous light-scaled Zorath. Shifted uneasy furred diplomats from the rim worlds gripped their seats tight. An old recording played on the central hollow. Ancient human ships fighting in the extinction cascade. Monsters from beyond the rim poured through rifts. Humanity stood alone and held the line. They built weapons no one else dared to dream. They won the war, then they vanished. One elder spoke, low voice steady. The humans did not die, they chose silence. They left guardians like this one to watch. If we wake them, the cascade might return, or worse, we become the threat they guard against. Another voice cut in sharp. We must talk to it, send envoys, offer peace, study it from far. Do not touch, do not provoke. They voted fast. Messengers launched toward the Erebus, small, unarmed ships, white flags on every hull. They broadcast messages in every known tongue. We come in peace. We seek understanding. We mean no harm. The Erebus answered with silence. It let the ships approach close enough to see its hull up close. Then shields flared. Once gentle push. The messengers turned back fast. No one died, but the message stayed clear: stay away. Meanwhile, the Dominion tried to fight back. Surviving admirals gathered what remained of their fleets. They pulled ships from every border they called vassal races. To send more, they built new weapons in hidden yards. They told their people the human ship was just a machine, old tech. Nothing unbeatable. Pride demanded revenge. They sent the first counter-attack near the edge of former Karva space. 50 heavy cruisers jumped in tight formation. They opened fire from long-range rail guns, threw slugs at near-light-speed missile swarms, filled the void. Plasma beams stabbed forward. The Erebus turned slow. It met the barrage with the same calm. Shields absorbed everything then. It replied. Swarms of hunter drones launched. They moved like living things, fast and smart. Each drone found a target. Each exploded with perfect force. Cruisers cracked open like shells. Engines died. Crews burned or froze. The fleet broke in minutes. Half the ships vanished. The rest limped away, trailing fire. Word spread wider. Ancient empires that once ruled when stars were young now felt fear. The Vexari pulled their border fleets back. The Hive conquered, closed hive worlds to outsiders. The Zorath recalled every scout ship. They dug through old archives. They found fragments of human records, warnings carved in stone on dead worlds. Humanity sleeps, do not wake it or the stars will weep. On Earth itself, the cradle world stayed quiet. Cities slept under domes. Forests grew thick over old launch sites. Billions lived simple lives, unaware of the terror spreading in their name. Deep vaults held the last sleepers, frozen in crystal tubes. Dreams preserved for the day they might wake. No alarm sounded. Yet no lights flashed. The Erebus acted alone as designed. Captain Lyra Voss kept her scout frigate hidden in a dark nebula. She listened to every channel. She watched relay feeds. She saw empires tremble. She felt strange pride mixed with cold fear. Her blood carried the old markers, the same markers the Erebus had sensed in Dominion blood. She knew if the ship ever scanned her, it would recognize kin. It might call her. It might wait for her command. She spoke soft to her first officer. We wait, we watch. If it calls, we answer. If it burns everything, we help it burn. The officer nodded grim. They both understood humanity left no half measures. The final line meant exactly that: the last stand, the end of mercy. The Erebus moved again, slow at first, then faster. It followed a path toward the galactic core. No random drift, no hurry, just purpose. It ignored jump gates. It folded space in ways no one understood. It passed border stations without stopping. It let scouts watch from far. It let messages beg for talks. It answered none. One brave fleet from the rim worlds tried to block its path. 30 ships strong, they formed a wall. They powered every weapon. They broadcast surrender terms in hope. The Erebus stopped. It hung still for long minutes. Then it spoke one message on every frequency, ancient Terran standard translated perfect into modern trade tongue. This is the last line. There will be no further lines. The words carried weight, no anger, no threat, just fact. The fleet waited frozen. Then the Erebus fired once a thin beam sliced through the formation. It cut 10 ships in half, clean, precise. The rest scattered fast, no pursuit, came the lesson stayed. Panic grew in council chambers, ambassadors shouted in war rooms, admirals argued in temples, priests prayed to old gods. They unsealed forbidden vaults, they read forbidden texts. They learned the truth: humanity fought not one war, but many. They fought the rim horrors, they fought each other, they fought time itself. In the end, they chose peace. By hiding their strength, they built the final line, ships one per sector, each a world killer, each a guardian, each set to wake only if the sleep ended. Now one woke, the galaxy held its breath. The Erebus reached the outer core systems. It stopped above a small neutral world called Nexus Station. Traders from every race lived there, no weapons allowed, open market. For all the station spun slow, rings of lights glowed bright. The dreadnought hung above it, black and huge shadows fell across the rings. Traders looked up through viewports, they saw death waiting patient. No shots came, no demands, the Erebus just watched. It scanned every ship, it scanned every soul, it searched for human traces. It found none, it powered down weapons, it dimmed shields, it waited more. Below on the station, leaders met fast, they sent one shuttle up unarmed, one pilot, one diplomat. No weapons, no armor, the shuttle approached slow. It broadcast peace codes, it begged for contact. The Erebus opened a bay door, small and dark. The shuttle entered the bay, closed the lights, inside stayed low. The diplomat stepped out alone. She carried no tools, no recorder, just open hands. A voice spoke from the walls, soft and clear: Captain Elias Voss, recording. If you hear this, the sleep has ended or fools have disturbed it. No. We built this ship to end threats. Forever we do not conquer, we preserve. If humanity wakes again, the galaxy ends. If you seek peace, leave us sleep. If you seek war, find your end here. The voice stopped, the bay opened again, the shuttle left. Untouched, the diplomat returned shaking. She told the station leaders everything. Word flew out, Nexus Station became the first place to broadcast the truth. The Erebus did not attack the helpless. It punished only those who touched it. It guarded something bigger than revenge. Empires listened, they pulled back fleets, they opened old channels. They whispered offers of peace. They hoped the Guardian would hear, they hoped it would sleep again. The Erebus drifted on its course, clear, its purpose unchanged. It moved toward the heart of power, toward the place where all great councils met, toward Etherian, the neutral core world. There the final test waited, thousands of ships, gathered, trillions watched, every eye turned to the black shape coming slow, every heart beat fast. The terror was real, the ancient empires trembled. And the final warship kept coming. Whispers raced through the void like shadows chasing light. Every relay, every hidden channel, every secret comms line carried the same fear. The Erebus moved unstoppable toward the core, left trails of broken fleets behind it like crumbs from a feast of metal and fire. Ancient empires that ruled for eons now shook in their thrones. Leaders called meetings in panic rooms buried deep under worlds of ice and stone. They pulled old maps from dusty vaults, they traced human paths from long ago, they found records of wars fought before their races learned to fly. Humanity had burned bright and short, or so they thought. Now one ship proved them wrong, one ship made them remember. The coalition of elder species met first on their moon base, hidden in the rings of a gas giant. Holograms flickered as representatives joined from distant stars. The insected hive queen clicked her mandibles fast, her voice buzzed through translators. This guardian must stop. We offer tribute, we offer silence, we offer anything to make it sleep again. A crystalline Vexari lord shimmered blue with worry. We cannot fight it, our weapons bounce like rain on stone. We must learn why it wakes, why now. Debates raged for hours, they unsealed forbidden data crystals, they read about the extinction cascade. A tide of horrors from beyond the galaxy rifts opened, and monsters poured through tentacles and claws and endless hunger. Humanity stood alone, because no one else dared. They built fleets from nothing, they forged weapons that bent reality, they pushed the horrors back. They sealed the rifts, they saved everything. Then They chose to fade to let the galaxy heal without their fire. One elder spoke slow and grave. The final line ships were their last gift or their last curse, built to wake if the horrors returned, or if fools touched what they left behind. We are the fools. We touched the ship now. It judges us all. They sent fast couriers to other empires. Messages begged for unity. Join a stand together. Stop this before it reaches the core. The responses came slow at first. Then faster. Fear bound them like chains. The hive conquered. Agreed. The Vexari pledged ships. The Zoreth sent warriors. Even small rim coalitions added their voices. For the first time in ages, the galaxy stood as one against a single ship, against a ghost from the past. Captain Lyra Voss listened from her hidden frigate. She caught every message. She saw the alliances form. She felt the pull stronger now. Her blood called to the Erebus. It knew her kind. It waited for a true command. She spoke to her crew. We move closer. We shadow it. If it needs us, we answer. The crew nodded silent. They plotted a course through dark lanes. They followed the dreadnought like a shadow on black velvet. The Erebus ignored the chatter. It folded space again. It jumped past border fleets that dared not fire. It emerged near a cluster of trade worlds, busy hubs, where ships from every race docked and dealt. It hung above the main station, lights dim, weapons cold. But its presence alone stopped everything. Trade halted, ships froze in docks. Captains stared at viewscreens. Crews whispered prayers. One brave trader, a scaled merchant from the rim, sent a small drone. It carried gifts, rare crystals, old artifacts, human relics, found on dead worlds. The drone approached slow. It broadcast offers of peace. The Erebus let it come close. Then a tractor beam pulled it in. Gentle no damage. The bay opened. The drone vanished inside. Minutes passed. The bay opened again. The drone flew out unchanged. But a message played on its speakers. Humanity sleeps. Leave the sleep unbroken or join the silence. The trader shared the message. Wide empires analyzed every word. They found no threat, just truth. They felt the chill deeper. This ship did not hate. It protected something bigger, something sacred. Panic turned to plans. War councils met on secure worlds. Admirals drew lines on star maps. They gathered the grand fleet, thousands of ships from every power, cruisers with plasma spines, battleships with gravitic hearts, fighters like swarms of angry stars. They chose Etherian as the stand, the neutral world where all great talks happened. Green oceans, wide fields, ancient halls built for peace. Now it would see war, or so they hoped. The grand fleet formed rings around Etherian, layers of defense shields, linked weapons. Charged ambassadors on the surface begged for more time. They sent one last envoy, a single white ship. No arms, no crew, just an AI with every language. It approached the Erebus. As it entered the system, it broadcast every plea, every promise, every vow of peace. The Erebus stopped. It scanned the envoy. It let it dock, then silence for long hours. The galaxy waited. Trillions watched through relays. Hearts stopped in chests. Mandibles clicked. Fur stood on end. Crystals pulsed dim. The envoy returned. It carried one file, a hologram recording, old and clear. A human stood tall, black uniform, scarred face, eyes like steel. Captain Elias Voss. The file said, last commander of the final line. If you see this, the Guardian acts alone. It preserves our rest. We fought the cascade. We won at great cost. We sleep to let you live. Wake us. And we rise not as friends, as judges, as enders. Seek peace. Leave us be, or face the line that ends all lines. The hologram faded. The envoy broadcast it wide. Empires heard. Leaders bowed heads. Admirals gripped controls tight. They knew the choice: fire and die, or stand down and live. One admiral from the Dominion, broken but proud, gave the order: first weapons down, shields minimal. Broadcast acceptance. The message spread. Others followed. Hive ships dimmed. Vexari crystals calmed. Zoreth warriors sheathed claws. The grand fleet parted like a sea before a storm. The Erebus moved through slow, untouched, unhurried. It reached orbit above Etherian. It hung there black against the blue world. No fire came, no drones launched. It waited again. On the surface in the grand hall, diplomats from every race gathered. They linked hands and claws and tendrils. They drafted the pact: non-aggression toward human space. No probes, no claims, no touches on old relics. Earth and its sister worlds marked as sacred, silent, forbidden. They signed with blood and light. And song they broadcast the pact wide to the Erebus, to the stars, to their own people. The dreadnought acknowledged one pulse low and deep. It rolled through every ship, every station, every world. It said nothing, but everyone understood, accepted. Then the Erebus turned, it powered engines, it folded space. One last time, it vanished into the dark between stars, toward home, toward sleep. The galaxy exhaled, fleets dispersed, worlds spun on people, whispered stories of the black ship, of the terror that woke, and spared them of the humans who saved everything twice. Captain Lyra Voss watched it go, her frigate turned away. She set course for distant ports. She carried the secret in her blood. Humanity lived quiet, strong, ready. If needed, the line would hold again. Ancient empires trembled, no more terror. Became legend, caution. Became law, the final warship slept. But the galaxy remembered, its shadow stayed long. In hidden vaults on Earth, alarms stayed, silent sleepers. Dreamed on domes, held firm forests, whispered old names. The cradle waited, patient as always. Far away in the void, other final lines, ships drifted dark and quiet, waiting for their turn. If it came, the stars would know true fire. But for now, peace held, fragile, bright, earned through fear and wisdom. The story spread from core to rim, from elder to young. The name Erebus became a warning, a promise, a hope. Do not wake the guardians or tremble forever. And so the ancient empires lived on, wiser, scarred, grateful for the mercy of the last line. The end drew near, one part left, the reckoning complete, the terror eternal, caution now. The galaxy held its breath as the Erebus vanished into the dark folds between stars. Every relay station tracked its last known vector toward the core. Every empire waited for the next move. No one knew if it slept again or prepared for worse. Captain Lyra Voss kept her frigate on a parallel course, far enough to stay hidden, close enough to feel the pull in her blood. She watched silent feeds from stolen Dominion probes. She saw the fear spread like slow poison through every channel. On the capital world of the coalition of elder species, the Grand Council chamber filled with urgent voices, holograms of distant leaders flickered in rows. The Hive Queen spoke first, her mandibles sharp. We must accept the pact fully. No more probes near human worlds, no more claims on old relics. The crystalline Vexari Lord pulsed, soft green. We agree. But we watch, we build defenses in case it wakes fully. A Zoreth general growled low. We lost too many ships already. Pride costs more than caution now. They signed the expanded treaty, right there, non-aggression toward all human space, marked in red on star charts, silent zones. Around every known human relic, no flybys, no scans, no salvage. The signatures glowed. Then sealed the message, beamed out wide to the Erebus, to every fleet, to every citizen. The galaxy bent its knee to a sleeping race. Yet fear lingered in hidden shipyards. Engineers worked faster than ever. They built new shields with borrowed math from old human texts. They tested weapons in deep space, hopping to match the dreadnought's power. They failed every time. Nothing bent space like the Erebus. Nothing absorbed fire without a mark. Nothing moved with such cold grace. Captain Lyra Voss received the treaty broadcast on her bridge. She read the words slow, her crew gathered around. They understood the weight. Humanity once begged for peace, now peace begged from humanity. She smiled thin. We live quiet, she said, but we live strong. The ship turned away from the core. It headed toward fringe sectors, where old human outposts waited, buried under dust and time. The Erebus emerged near a forgotten system called Epsilon Remnant, a dead world, circled by broken rings. Once a human colony, before the cascade, before the long sleep. The dreadnought slowed, it scanned the surface. It found faint signals, buried deep crystalline vaults, still sealed. No life, no power, just memories in crystal. A single shuttle launched from the Erebus, small and black. It landed soft on cracked plains. Dust rose slow. Then settled. The shuttle opened. A drone walked out, tall and thin like a human in armor, but made of metal and light. It carried no weapons, it carried tools. It walked to the vault entrance. It placed a hand on the lock. Old codes ran, old lights flickered. The vault opened, slow air hissed out, fresh after ages. And Sid The drone found rows of tubes crystal clear. Each tube held a sleeper frozen perfect faces calm dreams. Locked away the drone scanned them all viable, all waiting. The drone transmitted back to the Erebus data flowed fast Sentinel Prime. Analyzed no threat no disturbance. Just kin preserved the shuttle lifted off the vault sealed again the Erebus turned away. It left the world untouched, it left the sleepers dreaming. Word of the visit leaked slow traders near the fringe caught faint scans they whispered about the black ship, touching human graves, they told stories in dark bars. They said the Guardian checked its charges. They said it protected even the dead empires listened harder they pulled scouts back farther they marked more zones forbidden. On a rim world called Tarkis, a young scientist named Kira found an old human data pad in ruins. She activated it careful and slow, a voice spoke, Captain Elias Voss again. If you find this no. We left seeds across the stars not to conquer to endure if the line wakes seek the truth seek, why we sleep seek what we guard then choose wisely. Kira shared the recording wide, scholars studied it, they found clues maps to other vaults names of lost ships warnings about the cascade they pieced together. More the horrors never fully died some hid, some waited humanity. Built the final line to watch the edges to strike, if the dark returned the ship did not wake for pride it woke for survival. The truth spread slow at first, then fast books appeared in hidden presses stories turned into songs priests preached about the sleeping god scientists. Debated the ethics children learned new history. The name Erebus became legend not monster not conqueror guardian. Captain Lyra Voss heard the stories too she felt pride swell. She knew her line traced back to Voss himself distant kin. But real she decided to act. She sent a tight beam toward the last known position of the Erebus simple words in Old Terran. This is Lyra Voss descendant I carry the blood I offer service if needed. The message flew into the void it traveled weeks it reached nothing at first. Then a reply came single pulse low hum acknowledge stand by. Lyra waited her crew watched sensors days. Past nothing then the Erebus appeared on long-range scans. It approached slow it matched speed it opened a channel voice clear. And calm Captain Voss recording kin recognized stand ready the line holds. Lyra felt tears sting her eyes she answered we stand ready. The channel closed the Erebus turned. It led the way toward deeper space, toward sectors, no, one claimed toward places where old rifts once opened. Empires watched from far they saw the small frigate follow, the dreadnought, they understood something shifted kin. Called to kin the Guardian found purpose beyond punishment. The journey took months the Erebus moved steady it scanned every system, it ignored signals, it ignored pleas. It searched for traces of the cascade faint energy echoes old wounds, in space tiny rifts sealed. But not gone the dreadnought noted each one it marked them it prepared. One day it stopped near a dark nebula, a rift pulsed weak. But alive something stirred inside tentacles of shadow, reached out slow hungry again the Erebus-powered weapons spinal cannon, hummed drones launched swarms ready. The small frigate hung back Lyra watched, she felt the pull stronger the Erebus transmitted stand witness. This is why we built the line. The battle started fast, the rift widened horrors poured, through not many not yet. But enough to test the Erebus, met them head on beams cut through shadow drones, exploded in patterned shields held against claws. An acid the fight lasted hours the rift shrank the horrors died, or fled the Erebus stood unbroken. It transmitted again threat contained for now sleep continues. But the watch never ends kin prepare the line holds. Lyra answered we prepare we hold the Erebus turned once more. It headed back toward known space. It moved slower now satisfied duty done for another A. Empires received fragments of the battle scans. They saw the horrors, they saw the power, they understood true terror not from the ship. From what it fought, they doubled their vows. They sealed more zones, they taught their young the old warnings. The Erebus drifted toward home, toward Earth, toward silence. It passed Etherian again. It hung high, no fleets challenged, no words came, it simply watched. Then it vanished deep into the black. Captain Lyra Voss, followed no more. She set course for a quiet world. She carried new purpose. She would build, she would watch, she would wait. The galaxy changed forever. Ancient empires trembled lest now terror turned to respect, caution became wisdom, peace held stronger, because one ship reminded them what waited in the dark. Stories grew, legends spread, children pointed at stars and whispered, the final warship sleeps, but it dreams of us. And if the dark returns, it will wake again. The line will hold. Always. The Erebus returned to the quiet edge of known space. It moved slow, now no hurry left in its engines. The black hull drank starlight. As always, the galaxy watched from every corner. But no one dared follow close. Captain Lyra Voss kept her frigate at a respectful distance. She felt the bond stronger than before. Her blood sang quiet songs to the ancient ship. She knew the time for action had passed. The Guardian had spoken its piece. The horrors pushed back, the line held firm. Now came the long watch again. Across the stars, ancient empires worked to heal their wounds. The Dominion rebuilt shipyards on safer worlds. They spoke softer in council halls. They taught their young about the Black Dreadnought. As a lesson, not a legend, the coalition of elder species opened hidden vaults wider. They shared old human records. With every race they built monuments on neutral ground, simple stones, carved with warnings, let the sleep continue. Let the Guardians rest. The hive conquered, sealed border gates tighter they clicked. Agreements in low tones, no more expansion toward human zones. The Vexari dimmed their crystal spires in respect. They sang quiet hymns to the lost race that saved them all without asking thanks. Traders returned to old routes, careful and slow. They avoided certain sectors marked red on every chart. They told stories in station bars about the day. The stars trembled. They spoke of Captain Elias Voss, as if he still walked among them. They said his voice lived in every final line ship. They said his will kept the dark at bay. Children listened wide-eyed. They drew pictures of black ships with red glowing eyes. They played games where one child guarded and others tried to wake the sleep. They learned early that some things stayed better buried. On Earth, the cradle world spun peaceful under thick green forests. Cities slept under clear domes. Lights glowed soft at night. People lived simple lives. They farmed, they built, they loved, they dreamed. No alarms rang in deep vaults. No lights flashed. Urgent sleepers rested in crystal rose faces. Calm hearts, slow. The planet knew nothing of the terror beyond its sky. Yet somewhere in hidden bunkers, old machines listened. They caught faint pulses from the Erebus. They logged the data. They waited, patient as stone. Captain Lyra Voss brought her frigate to a small moon in a forgotten system. She landed soft on dusty plains. Her crew stepped out in suits. They looked at the stars. They felt small and large. At once Lyra spoke to them low. We carry the line now, not with guns, but with memory. We watch, we wait, we live so others can too. The crew nodded. They built a small camp. They raised a simple marker, black stone etched with old Terran words. The last line holds. They left it there for any who came after. Months turned to years. The galaxy settled into new quiet. Trade grew again. But wiser alliances strengthened not from greed, but from shared fear, turned to respect. Scholars wrote thick books about the awakening. They debated what woke the Erebus. Some said alien touch. Some said the cascade stirred faint. Some said fate itself pulled the trigger. They agreed on one truth: humanity never left. They just stepped back to let the rest grow without shad. One day, far out in the rim, a scout ship found something strange. A tiny rift pulsed weak in empty space. Not big, not hungry. Yet not yet. The scouts sent data fast. Empires read the reports. They felt old chills. They looked to the void. They wondered if the Guardian still watched. The Erebus appeared without warning. It came from nowhere. It hung above the rift, silent, black, perfect. It scanned. Once it powered weapons just enough to show intent. The rift flickered, then closed tight. The void healed itself. The ship stayed a moment longer. It transmitted one last message on every open channel. This is the final line. There will be no further lines. The words rolled through space, clear, cold, eternal. Then the dreadnought turned. It folded away into the deep dark, toward Earth, toward home, toward rest. No cheers rang out, no parades marched, no statues rose higher. The galaxy simply breathed easier. Worlds spun on. People lived, loved, laughed. They remembered. They taught their children. They kept the zones marked. They kept the stories alive. they kept the caution sharp. Captain Lyra Voss grew old on her quiet moon. She watched stars from a simple chair, her hair turned white, her eyes stayed sharp. She told tales to young ones who visited from passing ships. She spoke of the black ship, of the voice that spared trillions, of the blood that bound them. All she said, one day another might wake, another line might hold. Until then, live well, guard the peace, earn the mercy given. When her time came, her crew buried her under the black stone marker they carved. One more line, Lyra Voss' last voice of the line. She rests the watch, continues, the young ones saluted, they left flowers, they flew away, they carried her words outward. Centuries past, the Erebus slept again, deep in Earth orbit, hidden in plain sight among old debris. It watched quiet, it scanned faint rifts, it noted new stars born. It waited for the call that might never come, its core stayed warm, its weapons stayed cold, its purpose stayed true. Empires rose and fell, new races climbed from dust, old ones faded into songs. The name humanity became myth to some, truth to others, a whisper in temples, a lesson in schools, a shadow that taught light. One child on a far world looked up at night. She saw a black shape cross the stars, for a second too fast for most eyes. She pointed and smiled. She knew the story her mother told her. Every night the final warship sleeps, but it dreams of us. If the dark comes, it wakes. If we forget, it reminds. The child slept sound dreams full of black holes and red lights, safe in the long shad. The galaxy turned, peace held, not perfect, not forever, but stronger than before, because one ship, one voice, one line showed what waited when mercy ended. Ancient empires trembled, no more terror, became memory, caution became creed, wisdom became law. The final warship rested, but the line held. Always. And so the stars shone on, quiet, bright, free.